Joni, it's time for me to go home, and she wasn't ready to go. I'm like, I'm kind of drunk. It's time to go. Like I was like, if we go any further, I'm going to be like falling on myself.
Yeah. So I was like, I was talking to this Jane, for about a minute or so, and I was like, well, let's go to Clancy or something. I guess she was great, and then I just stopped talking to her, and then I realized like about 15 minutes later, I was like, there was no date involved, like there was no today. So then I got her back over there, and I go, Tuesday night? She goes, yeah. Because I realized
that's so incredible.
I just said, let's meet at Clancy's, but I didn't say when.
Wow.
I know. So smooth. Then I went back to singing.
Yeah.
Loudly.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I realized how few words of those songs I actually knew by rewatching the videos, because I'm just like mitten.
Somehow
every once in a while there's like a word we know.
Yeah, you know, like a little bit of the chorus, and then I'm just like,
or you know most of the chorus.
The chorus, but any of the other words, don't even ask me. Yeah. Tell you what.
I can't hear anything.
Close the door.
Oh, maybe like.
Can you close the door, Jeff?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, at the end of the night, I was singing to. This is how drunk I was singing to. When I need love, I hold out my hands.
You're so stupid.
Boy. Dunc and Holder on a Monday, June 11th. Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan, Clyburn, and Dave DeCorbier here with you in our iHeart Radio studios. And if you follow social media, any of us, you saw some ridiculousness from us over the weekend, jamming to as much light rock as humanly possible. Jeff and I singing like buffoons. What's the name of the band? The Light Rock Express?
Light Rock Express.
Yes. And Jeff got us, the whole crew over there, and it was ridiculous and fun all at once.
Epic night. You
Absolutely.
Got Disco Dave, Double D DeCorbier up there, which was a treat. And yeah, look, we got there, there was nobody there. By the end of the night, we couldn't move in the place.
It was so hot.
And
it was so hot.
And Clyde's in there, of course, recording every move that we made. My wife was in there recording every move that we made. And our moves were not very good moves.
Clyde was recording stuff surreptitiously. I didn't even know he was recording.
I know, because I'm good like that.
Well, that's like us, paparazzi. We were getting paparazzi by our own folks. It was like our marketing people were just making sure to get it out there, just that we look like buffoons singing to what?
Absolutely.
Maybe Christopher Cross. Who else?
Little Christopher Cross.
Red.
Seals and Crofts.
Dave was just in there enjoying all,
Rupert Holmes,
soaking it all in.
The Looking Glass.
I don't know any of these bands.
Rupert Holmes, yes.
I don't know any of these bands. I don't know
Little
any
River
of these
Band
people.
too.
I just know the songs, the elevator music.
My wife Stephanie didn't know any of the songs, which is not a surprise. Ladies, hey ladies.
This goes out to the ladies.
It's so bad.
Ladies.
And we don't. And just to be clear, we don't want your ladies. We just want to borrow them. We don't want your ladies. We just want to borrow them.
Exactly. But that was a good time for all involved. But of course, plenty to talk about today. If you want to get involved in the conversation, go right ahead. 504-260-1280 is the number. We'll be talking Saints mini camp. They start up tomorrow. Mandatory 3-day mini camp. Pending the weather, it is open to the public. So if you are lurking about, wanting to skip work, watch the Saints, they'll be out there. But if it rains, we go indoors. You kind of know the drill if you've been around the team for all these off-season practices. So yeah, it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Starts at 11 a.m. I will be out there each day. I'll be chiming in from out there before practice starts. But I'll be out there writing, and I know the story I'm going to be writing about tomorrow, whether he speaks or not, is going to be Mark Ingram. He's supposed to be there, and I will be writing a column certainly about that. But we'll go into some storylines as we head up into minicamp. Also around 10:30, we will talk with our good buddy Pat Forty of Yahoo Sports. He has been covering the Triple Crown, and we have a Triple Crown winner on our hands, Justified. We will talk with him about that And look, maybe we'll touch on LeBron James. Maybe we'll touch on the NBA Finals. Maybe we'll touch on I was right and Jeff was wrong on Friday. Maybe we'll touch on that.
Where's LeBron James going to go? That's what we need to talk about.
That's certainly the next story because the Finals.
That's the only story.
That was actually the only story within the Finals because anyone who watches sports and sees one dominant team and one inferior team, you knew that's going to be a sweep.
Well, not now because now it's soft cast gate because everybody's up in arms, got their panties in a wad because I would like to believe that a medical professional told him after the game, hey, we didn't do this during the series because, we didn't want you to let it out. But as a medical professional, you might want to have this soft cast on just for the healing process. But that's just us. But no, because LeBron needs sympathy because he got swept.
Well, guess what? LeBron needs sympathy because he got swept. Blame it on a has-been Hornet.
It seemed like to me, too. I'm with Clyde on that.
Blame it on a has-been Hornet. J.R. Smith screwed it up.
Seems like a bogus thing to me. I don't know. I didn't like how that played out.
Well, we'll talk about that. But
I'm sure he was hurt.
Yeah. Well, when has-been Hornet screws it all up for you in Game 1, you're going to be mad, and he decided to bash
J.R.
his hand on
Smith did
something.
more for the Golden State Warriors than he did for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
So has-been Hornet J.R. Smith got LeBron's hand hurt, and then has-been Hornet Chris Paul got his hammy hurt, and so Golden State benefited by both.
This
so
is true.
It's all
It's a
comes full
conspiracy.
circle that it has been Hornet.
Conspiracy.
Yep. Probably that King Cake baby probably had something to do with all this nonsense.
Don't bring King Cake Baby.
Or
into this.
Hugo the Hornet, or the nuclear chicken that is the Pelicans mascot. Maybe it has all something to do with this. No, but first, want to get this kind of out in the public and just throwing it out there. And if you guys want to get involved after we discuss it, feel free. But this is going to be our last week of shows here on Sports 1280. We are shifting our platform with Dunc and Holder. Sports 1280 is not going anywhere. We are just leaving the airwaves. Our last show will be this Friday, and then we will return in a podcast form. We're going to do this through NOLA.com. We're going to be doing it 3 days a week, starting toward the end of July once training camp comes. So we're going to be taking basically a 5-week hiatus in general, and then we will be returning to podcast form. We're going to do 3 podcasts a week. One will be live every Thursday at NOLA Brewery, so we're looking forward to that. But it's kind of a bittersweet thing with us because we fought and scratched and clawed to get Dunc and Holder off the ground, and it's been a great run, and we're just shifting platforms here. And look, there's a lot of reasons behind it. If you want to ask us, we'll be as open as we can about it. But look, it's an ever-shifting media landscape, and look, it's a challenge. I could tell you for us three who do this every day, and on top of all of the other things we do with our job. When we first got started, I could tell you, me personally, I had never run the ship of a radio show. And when I used to do radio back when with Gus Catgill, I would be, say, the color guy. He'd be the play-by-play guy. And it's a lot on your plate. You think 2 hours, you're just working for 2 hours. No. And so that's part of it, just being flexible. But like, I'm speaking for all of us, want to thank everybody here at Sports 1280 AM for helping get us on the air. And look, it's not like we're not going to be frequent guests on all these shows. I mean,
right.
It's not like we're.
Well, I won't. Y'all might, but I won't.
Well, maybe the Clyde horn will make some.
Okay, great.
And speaking
you give me the horn, I'm going to hang up.
Speaking of, you'll call. Should I not? We'll tease the lineup later. The new lineup that's going to be starting.
It's a great new lineup. I'm excited about it.
Absolutely.
I'll be a regular listener. I can tell you that.
Yeah, but it's going to be without us, which, again, bittersweet. I don't know, Jeff, if you have anything you want to add to that.
Well, no, look, it is bittersweet. I'm very excited about the future of Dunc and Holder. We're going to be moving platforms, but we'll still be doing the exact same thing, maybe even some new additions to what we're going to be doing. But it is bittersweet because we've had such a great relationship with everyone here at iHeart and at Sports 1280. Dave DeCorbier has been unbelievable. Jeremy Porcine also as well. So we're excited about the future, but we also want to thank everyone here for what they've done to help build this radio show and build an audience here in New Orleans, because it wouldn't have occurred without the hard work of everyone here and getting behind this effort, because we were just a bunch of slappies trying to figure out how to
Speak for
put
yourself,
together a radio
Jeff.
show.
It's Mr. Slappy to you over
That's
here.
true.
King
That's
of the
true.
castle. I'm Mr. Slappy.
But
You're King Slappy.
But everybody's been great here, and we are sad to leave, but we will continue to be a part of the family, an extended family, put it that way.
And yeah, like we're not disappearing. I think that's the point. Just because the show is leaving the airwaves, we're not disappearing. And like I said, we will certainly be a fixture as far as being guests on the station, where there's no problem there. No one's leaving here with any ill feelings. I could say from either side, whether it's from you and me, Jeff, to whether it's iHeart Radio, to whether it's NOLA.com. None of this is bitter feelings. Like,
Not at all.
Because we wouldn't be willing to help participate in other ways if that wouldn't be the case.
It's been a very positive relationship, I think, on both sides. And I think the future is going to be bright for both sides going forward, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, if you want to get involved, if you want to ask us anything about it, I mean, look, we've been open. People call us about sports talk show hosts that are gone and speculating about other things. So if we want to be transparent, we'll be as transparent as we can be. I mean, I don't know if there's anything we're really not being transparent about right now. I don't know how much more. But yeah, just a heads up. This will be our last week.
And we're going to do it big. We're going to do it the way we've been doing it since July, and closing it out the way we should close it out. We're still going to have fun. We're still going to,
we need some of that.
We're going to get some horns that I'm going to continue to ignore and talk through, regardless of how many times they get put.
Clyde, are you going to bring a washboard in here?
No.
For the Friday
I'm not bringing it in here,
finale.
and I'm not bringing it in anywhere else we
See?
go.
That's what we need.
This is as close as you're going to get. This is as close as you're going to
Is that
get.
Clyde's recording? I think it is.
No, it's not. It's not. I haven't done it. Nope.
It's the early years.
Yeah. It's up my album, Jumping Off the Marsh and Drowning.
But I did want to plug, since we have this platform to do it, Thursday nights, NOLA Brewing Tap Room will be streaming live, as Larry said, starting August 9th. That's going to be a party, so come out to that if you can. We'll be live at the NOLA Brewery Tap Room, and we're going to have a lot of things planned. We want total engagement from everyone. Hopefully we'll have some Saints trivia contest things. We're talking about a lot of different things, spitballing a lot of ideas, but it will be an audience participation night, and we'll be recording the podcast live there. And if you haven't been there, it's a great spot. It's a great place right there on Chapatulas in my neighborhood, kind of uptown New Orleans. And we're excited about that.
Yeah, and I could tell you for 2 of the Thursday broadcasts that we're going to be doing, they will be for the first preseason game and the final preseason game. So we'll basically kind of be a pregame show, and you come on over and then you watch the game. And I'm telling you, I'm literally going to be writing from there after the game, because we don't travel for some of the preseason games, just because in the preseason. So we send the beat guys, but we'll be there. We'll do an hour podcast, and then we'll do an hour of just meeting and greeting and having some beer and having some good time. I can tell you the folks at NOLA Brewery are extremely fired up. They wish we would be starting like now.
Right.
But but we're waiting till around training camp and the start of preseason, kind of ramp it up. And it's also to, look, NOLA Brewery is a fantastic place to go watch football. I mean, you got beer and TVs and football and food, and it's fantastic.
And sports talk with us, and we'll be, like I said, engaging with everyone there. We're going to have an audience participation part of the show, and it's 5 o'clock. So what better place? You get off work, you're heading home, happy hour, right? That's what New Orleans does. We'll start the weekend on a Thursday night. That's how we do it in New Orleans.
Absolutely. All right, let's take our first break here on this show. When we get back, we will announce the new lineup. There might be a familiar voice who maybe plays a familiar horn.
Oh, don't give it away.
Oh, tease time.
That's a terrible tease.
Yeah, it's because it does not benefit you, I guess.
Naturally.
Clyde, you caused enough trouble for me and Jeff over the weekend.
That's also true, and I can't wait to see how this does going forward.
Exactly. All right, Pat Forty's coming up in about 12 or 13 minutes, talking Justified and the Triple Crown. We'll talk Saints minicamp as well, and your phone calls. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeart Radio app. Dunc and Holder.
Yeah, I was listening to these. Whoever they got filling in for Josh this morning.
Do what?
Whoever that is, they had some fill-in guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to call in
What's
they're
it called, Ed?
they're talking about Justify, and they talk about how his breeding rights have been sold for $75 million.
Right, he's like the richest horse in history now.
Yeah, $75 million is what they paid for the breeding rights. Then the farm that bought it, they settle on what the stud fee is going to be. That's how they make up their money. They were saying every time he breeds, it's $75 million, which is completely wrong. It's not even close. $75 million? You know, I mean, that's insane. They need to stick to something they know.
Hashtag stick to traditional sports.
I mean,
Stick to traditional sports.
the highest stud fee ever was $500,000, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
$75 million? That's, just think about it logically. Yeah, $75 million, that's a little expensive. Luke Bryan.
I heart him.
They weren't the Tony Awards last night?
They were last night.
I usually watch that. I was too hungover to watch TV. Couldn't even open my eyes.
Speak for yourself. Yesterday was boring as all get out. No soccer, no nothing.
What? Nadal only beat Dominic Thiem, beat him like a drum.
Yeah, so like I said, nothing was on yesterday.
Jeez. I knew it. That guy, I knew Nadal was going to wipe the floor with him.
Oh, there's a headline that we got to read at some point today. Miami Dolphins headline. Could Stephon Anthony be under radar answer for Miami Dolphins?
Oh!
It's an actual story.
Please tee that up.
Yes.
We will get to it. Tee it up.
Joe Shad.
Joey! Joe, you could have just called me. I could have told you no.
I could have told you no. But hey, whatever, man. It's the dead of summer.
Here's the sub-ed,
It's the dead of summer.
Yeah. Here's a sub-ed. No.
Let me think about it. No.
Fortnite! Talk me out of what? Oh, leaving? Yeah. Yes. Todd T, a loyal listener from the Jackson, Mississippi area.
Yes.
He is a storyline we are going to be getting to. He also referenced in his email to us about Mississippi State. We buried them about 4 months ago once Andy Cannizzaro got the axe, and they are going to the College World Series. That's a remarkable turnaround. That's remarkable.
Really remarkable sports season, Mississippi State. I mean, I know they won a bowl game without their starting quarterback. They did well with women's.
The women's basketball team made the Final Four again for the
they won
fourth.
it 2 years ago.
Yeah, won it. No,
last year.
No, they didn't. They didn't win it.
Oh,
they lost to South Carolina.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my limited women's basketball knowledge.
Don't worry.
Know Simone Augustus doesn't
I'm pulling
play
up
for
the
LSU
list.
anymore.
I'm pulling up the list for you.
I do want to give a shout out real quick though. Michelle Joseph is listening and watching from London, England. She's a big sailing fan, and she's tuning in from the great country across the pond.
Okay, get the horn out.
I know.
I'm done. I don't care. I'm done. I don't care. I got what I needed.
You're running off, Michelle.
Anyway,
You're never going to watch the show again.
Well, I mean, for a lot of people, in the next 4 days, it's going to be like that for everybody.
No. Getting back to the email, he just sent, dang, disappointed my 10 a.m. to noon, just got Jean-Claude Van Damme right in the mouth, and he sent me a picture, you and me a picture of Van Damme essentially kicking us in the face. So.
Oh, nice. Good.
Exactly. Look at you bringing it back. We're going to be
nice.
Yeah, we're going to be putting a familiar voice from 10 to noon. Will be Chris Gordy starting on Monday. Chris doing an amazing job. He's like Mr. Utility. He's hopped around.
It's amazing.
And he does a fantastic job. Right now he's on from 2 to 4, but he will be replacing us in our time slot from 10 a.m. to noon starting June 18th, basically a week from today. Eric Asher's going to be from noon to 2. Corey Johnson's going to be from 4 to 6. And what is this 2 to 4 time slot I'm reading? I thought that was me and Jeff. I thought they were getting rid of Slappies. Okay.
Who knew it, man?
Slappy Jr., you're like...
We're getting promoted all over the place.
Exactly. But from 2 to 4, the D-League with D squared. I like the name.
The D-League.
That's the best name ever.
Dave DeCorbier is getting his own sports talk show. That's what I'm talking about. He would be on from 2 to 4. You're so excited and you're so scared. You're Jessica Spano. It all comes back. Just don't do
don't do that.
And
Although it works out for everybody else except for her.
Don't take Keep Alert either. I mean, that's what gets you in trouble.
Or drink Monster.
It's caffeine pills. What's wrong with that? Monsters.
Because they're not good for you. Zach Morris is trash.
Sugar water.
Essentially,
barely that.
No, it says 0 sugar.
Zero sugar.
So God knows what's only in there. But anywho, so Double D, the D League with D squared. I like that name, Dave. Yeah. Ours was
love the name.
Ours was as creative as let's use half of Jeff's last name and all of Larry's.
Whee! I think
no one calls us this.
All of us here.
Everyone calls Jeff Dunc.
Deserve a D League koozie at some point. We need to have that.
It's funny you say that though. I did just unearth the Weekend Geek koozie that Dave gave me. I unearthed it over the weekend. It was in my luggage. I don't know how that even happened. I don't know. Maybe I was just bringing it on the road, like when I go to NFL owners meetings. I'm like, look at this cool show. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, so the D League with D squared from 2 to 4 starting next week. So again, we have nothing but high hopes for Sports 1280. It's kind of pulled them off the ground, a year ago? And so, And we're not going to be talking about this all week long. I'm not doing like a Derek Jeter victory lap. We're not going to be doing that.
I would hope so.
Now, maybe when we get to Friday, we'll probably reminisce a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to come up with the best lines, the best of moments from Duncan Holder, including, I think, a very late addition to that would be the Clyde Horn.
I don't think that should be it. I actually think.
Second line.
By the way, we need to tell everybody at work, do not expect us, or at least don't expect me to come to work after we're done here. We're all going to lunch. We're all going to do something.
We can't get
cheers to it.
We can't get one of the local, quarter martinis to just jump in here and just drop it off to us.
That's what we're going to do.
No, they should bring it to us in here.
As long as we get them, I don't care. I don't care as long as we can get them. So whatever we need to do.
We'll figure it out.
Call up people.
We'll figure it out. But no, okay. Anyway.
If we go to Commanders, though, we'd actually have to wear underwear and stuff. We'd have to be dressed up. So
most of us are dressed. Most of us are dressed here, please.
Dave's out.
I wear flip-flops. Can I get in?
No, trust me. Everybody knows you wear flip-flops, bro. They pretty much know your entire time.
I don't think flip-flops and a visor are allowed in.
Well, I'm out.
In Commanders.
All right, so it'll be me and Jeff. Great.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be drinking 25-cent martinis.
I'll spruce up a little. Just a little.
Yes. So, let's figure out our plans on Friday because we definitely have to celebrate a full year of... I can't believe we stayed on the air a year.
Well, 11 months.
Somewhat of an upset.
11 months we didn't even make it a year. Wow.
Well, I mean, it's close enough, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it still counts. Right.
There we go. All right, let's take a break right here on the show. Enough about us. Let's talk Justified Triple Crown winner. And I need to thank our buddy Pat Forty. He helped me cash in, and he actually, if you used his advice, just straight down the line, he made everyone money throughout the Triple Crown season.
Oh,
Genius.
God. Don't feed his ego.
Are you kidding me? Why?
Because it's already large enough.
Oh, the Jeff and the Pat
hater,
40 the
haters.
buddies, and yet they're going to clash. It's going to be awesome. Pat 40, Yahoo Sports coming up next here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder. Even though his math was wrong.
Really?
His math was wrong. And I was going to tweet at him, but I was like, nah. Because he's like, oh, you do $100. And his math on the Justify all, he said it was a $56 bet and ended up being a $72 bet. Like, he
added it up wrong.
He added it up wrong. So, it was instead, he's like, bet your best $100 or $116.
And what did you end up collecting? 200 something?
220, the trifecta. Because Gronkowski got second spot at 24-1. So of all the what, $116 you put down, I got 220. So yeah, and then I had $35 like I didn't spend. So I started with $30, and through the 3 races ended $250.
That's incredible.
I know. That's all Pat.
Like it's almost 10-1 odds.
Yeah.
My friend Michelle is letting you know that flip-flops are called thongs in Australia. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, I've heard them called thongs like here. Yeah. But then you hear thongs and you think underwear.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I have heard them called throughout my life thongs.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to come up with an idea for Friday. Like, Dave, are you gonna be able to get away?
Today,
we
we'll
have to figure out how we can.
60-1280 is the number. We'll be talking Saints mini camp. They start up tomorrow. Mandatory 3-day mini camp. Pending the weather, it is open to the public.
That'd be sweet. We can figure it out. I mean, we don't have to go to Commander. Just a little glitzy.
We can go to like,
We
if
can
you
go
want to
some-
go like,
I know the story. I'm going to be writing.
at
Tracy's or
Cafe
something?
Adelaide has quarter martinis if you want to do that. Or we could go to, we can go
That's what I'm
wherever.
saying.
We'll go into
The ship's wheel is not open anymore.
mini camp. Also,
Unfortunately, I have been to the ship's wheel.
Pat 40 of
I
Yahoo
don't even know what it is.
Yeah, Fat City.
Really? I've never even heard of it.
It was like,
on our hands.
is it right across the street from Crazy Johnny's? Which is Ain't There No More
Ain't there
too.
no more.
Maybe we'll touch on
Yeah.
LeBron James. Anyone who watches sports
Right.
sees one dominant team. Because
Huh.
just for the healing process. Blame it on it. I didn't like how that played out. Well, we'll talk about that. But first, was hurt. Yeah, well, has been Hornet screws it all up for you in game 1. You're going to be mad he decided to bash his team. So, has been Hornet J.R. Smith. Probably that Kincaid. Don't break. Pelicans mascot. And just throwing it out there, and if you guys want to get involved, want to get this
Okay. Welcome back to Dunc and Holder. On the guest line with us, Pat 40, Yahoo Sports. Covers the Belmont Stakes. Got to see another Triple Crown feat with Justify winning the race. And Jeff has already hiding because I've got to give Pat all the props in the world because I know nothing about horse racing. I listened to everything that Pat's had to say about betting on the horses, and he won me money, the entire Triple Crown.
That's a first.
Thank you, Pat. You the man, because I was just a sheep, and I followed you, and I'm greener for it. Thank you, sir. I was waiting for that.
He hit the board, Patrick. That's all that matters.
I was waiting for the first person to chime in about Hopper because he was pretty adamant on Friday about
He hit the board. He hit the board. That's all that matters. That's part of cashing. You could have made a lot of money betting him to come in third.
You could have made a lot of money betting Gronk to finish second.
I would not have bet Gronk with Pat's money. I don't know. Still don't know how that happened.
Oh my goodness. That's my favorite button that I use, even though I will say this, I'm glad you corrected yourself. I thought I screwed something up when I saw how much that bet actually cost. So. Exactly.
Missouri education.
It worked for me. LSU guy just followed along with no problem, hit the all button, and just didn't care about the cost. But no, Pat, appreciate you making me and a lot of people some money, except Jeff. Sorry, Jeff.
So Pat, I am curious though. You've had a long relationship with Bob Baffert, the trainer, of course, of Justify. What was he like on Saturday? I mean, he just accomplished this feat a couple of years ago with American Pharaoh. I can't imagine it's old hat, but how would you describe Bob Baffert's Saturday experience compared to 2 years ago with Pharaoh? Yeah, you know, the interesting thing with Justify is this ownership group. I mean, there's more partners than I've ever seen for a horse. And I'm wondering if this is something that might be part of the future of horse racing. These big, huge outfits, deep pockets, partnering up to buy, you know, the top horses. Let's face it, I mean, rarely do you have a California Chrome. That happens once every generation. More often than not, the Blue Bloods end up winning these big classic races. Do you think there is something to that, Pat? I mean, that we could see more China horse clubs, Head of Plane Partners, Starlight Racing, these big outfits that kind of dominate the world of sports?
Pat Forty, Yahoo Sports, join us right here on Dunc and Holder. Pat, the talk going, at least leaving the Preakness, and was more about well, I don't think Justify can pull off the Belmont, as opposed to, wow, all right, Justify just won the Preakness. What was your mindset on Justify going into this race? Were you thinking, this might not be, this long track might not fit well for Justify?
Hey, well, along those lines, Pat, what do you make of this? The story that came out after the Belmont about restoring hope. Being accused of being the bodyguard for justifying the race. Obviously, there were some of that floating around after the race was over, and so I mean, obviously, he was the best horse on the track, obviously that day. But obviously, clearly, there's some people who maybe thought that they may have been a little something else otherwise.
Yeah, and he has to get collaboration from the owner of Restoring Hope to make it work. I mean, otherwise, you're not going to sacrifice your horse for something like that. Now, Pat, you're moving on to the U.S. Open this week up at Shinnecock Hills on Long Island, and there's a lot of interest in this tournament this year. You got, obviously, it's always loaded. The field's loaded with big names. Again, we're reading more and more about Tiger Woods. I guess it's just part of anytime he's in a tournament, you're going to read about him. But what do you think's realistic for Tiger Woods this week?
Well, Pat, right now, if you look at the FedEx point standings, look, Phil Mickelson is 6th, and I probably would not have anticipated that. He's just kind of been floating around, and he's always one of those fan favorites, and you've got, some of the big guns who are 1, 2, 3, 4, Justin Thomas, Dustin Johnson, Justin Rose, and Jason Day. But the fact that Mickelson is up there, he always demands attention when he's on the course. What do you feel like his chances are going into this?
So Pat, I got a little nugget of information for you. If you get to Justin Thomas, who's going to be another one of the favorites at this event, and of course a Louisville native area guy. My sister-in-law, who you know, Debbie Duncan, was his teacher at South Oldham High School, and she had. Okay, we'll make that happen. Yeah, and he's really, I think, going to be one of the people to really watch this week, because he's an ascending star on the tour, and a guy that, let's face it, he's the greatest golfer, I guess, out of the Louisville area since who? Buzzy Zeller, maybe, or something? I mean, they really haven't produced anybody of that level. Jody Mudd.
Pat, one more we'll let you run. Jordan Spieth, he seems to be scuffling. Have you kind of kept up with what's been going on with him? And because look, you hear Jordan Spieth and you just assume he's tops in the world, and he's been scuffling as of late. Pat 40, Yahoo Sports. Once again, Pat, thank you very much. I'm a little bit richer, even though I'm not like thousands of dollars richer. But hey, I'm a little bit richer thanks to you, my friend. Thank you. He's still running.
As I told Larry, Pat, he needs to quit while he's ahead, because he'd be the only one of us that's ever actually ended up with a profit at horse racing.
Well, the next race I'm going to bet will be next year's Derby. You act like I'm going to do this again. Hell no. Unless Pat writes another column for like the Breeders' Cup, then I'll follow his way. He's my guide. Thanks, Pat. Will do. All right.
Thanks, Pat.
Pat 40, one of the best in the business. Appreciate it. All right, let's take a break right here on the show. You want to get involved, 504-260-1280. An injury to a certain Saints player?
Not just a certain Saints player.
Certainly one that's going to raise some eyebrows. Uh-oh. Panic! Panic!
Nice tease.
I know, I just wanted to scream panic real loud.
Oh, clearly we couldn't tell.
Exactly. We'll talk NBA Finals, more LeBron, Less Warriors because, hey, the Warriors, they won again. Big deal. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Duncan Holder.
Dream come true.
Every time I hear this, all I think about now is Applebee's, and how I don't want to still eat Applebee's.
Applebee's?
Yeah, that's the song they play now for Applebee's commercials. I'm just like, no, sorry, I love the song, but I'm not eating at Applebee's. I'm sorry.
I just realized I didn't eat breakfast and I'm starving. I didn't bring the freaking...
I don't ever eat breakfast.
You should probably think about doing that.
This is breakfast.
That is not a breakfast. That's certainly not a breakfast of champions either.
That's Richard's. But hey, I'm a little bit richer thanks to you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure. It's good to be on with you guys. Let me know what happens.
The draft coming up
Yeah, the NBA draft is next week.
next week.
It's on the 22nd.
Pistons hired Dwayne Casey.
It's a good hire.
Until he wins Coach of the Year again and gets fired.
Gets fired.
There you go. I was about to say, there you go.
Yeah.
Tony Town. Can Rent win like multiple Tonys
No.
like every year?
Well, I mean, they could, but I mean, why?
I don't know. It's all the
They
same
have the-
ones.
they
What are
have
the
the-
new ones? I don't know.
drama
I mean, they're
class.
talking about them. The Harry Potter one, this one that won all of them.
I just
was by,
assume
like,
Hamilton
Israelis
or
and
Cats
stuff.
would win every year.
Yeah, Hamilton
Or
Cats.
Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera.
Or Spider-Man
West Side
when they
Story.
fly around. Exactly. That's all I know.
Warriors grossed $130 million from 11 playoff games this year. That's crazy.
That's good. It's good stuff.
That's why they're worth so much.
Also true.
Yeah.
2019, they go into the new arena.
Oh, I didn't know they were getting one.
Oh yeah, Chase
Downtown San
Arena.
Francisco.
Oh yeah,
Oh, it's going to be in San Francisco.
it's gonna be in San Francisco. It's gonna be in the Bay.
Right over near
That's
where
smart.
the Giants baseball
Yeah.
stadium. It's good stuff here.
Jeff's ready to sing it for the ladies. Sing it, Jeff.
I can't hit that note.
No, I couldn't either. All I know is I thought I could sing well, and then when you get a couple pops in you, and then your wife puts your camera in your face, and you sound like a buffoon. That's me. And you, Jeff. You
Ooh,
and
boy.
me.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
I'm still blaming my cold that I'm still trying to get over.
You were
That's what
no
affected my voice.
excuse. I got this cold I caught on my first trip of Europe. Then I went back, and then I caught it again, and now I'm back, and I'm
Is
still
that your,
making
is that your
excuses.
Jeff voice?
I was. Usually I would just be like, "Oh my God, I'm Jeff. I'm so sick. It's the best thing ever."
Oh,
That's
Lord.
my excuse. I
Yeah.
was in the 10th grade choir, Larry, so I had a voice.
And that's Jeff from the actual choir.
And respect my voice.
Exactly.
At the same time.
Well, thumbs up, thumbs down. Well, thumbs going to be in a cast, it looks like, for one Marcus Davenport, according to reports. Marcus Davenport is going to have a procedure done on his thumb, and he will be back for training camp, according to the report. We'll see what happens, and I would assume that means he will not be playing in a cast and going through minicamp starting tomorrow. So, yeah, just a little bit of early panic. Nothing like a little bit of early panic. Remember last time we were panicking about a first-round pick? We figured Marshawn Lattimore's hamstrings might fall off. And
that didn't pan out, did it?
And he was pretty okay. So, is it a story? Of course it's a story. But is this a room to panic? No, but at this time of the year, you see something like that, and some people do panic.
Well, it shows that it's not that severe if he's going to have it after the minicamp. So they're going to let him go through minicamp and then address it. So how severe is it?
Right. I wouldn't put him out there, though. During minicamp, what's the point?
They want him to go through reps, go through the installation, learn.
Well, then put a club on his hand, I guess, and then take it off and then go have surgery. So.
Which is quite interesting because the guy that I've compared Davenport to a lot is Jason Pierre-Paul, who also played with a club.
That's because he blew up his hand
blew
with
off half
fireworks.
his hand.
Point is, they look a lot alike. He does have a club on.
Well, Jason Pierre-Paul, of course, looks the part. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And you were talking about a couple of days ago, Jeff, about Marcus Davenport's strength. And I remember during draft time and when the Saints took him, that his numbers, as far as, say, bench press reps and all this, his numbers throughout, say, the combine results were similar to those of Jadeveon Clowney. So similar type of player, imposing physical specimen. And now we need to just see Marcus Davenport do it. Look, I will tell you this: last week OTA, he looked better than he did, say, a couple of weeks before. I mean, so that's obviously a good thing. You're looking for small improvements, and you're not going to really know anything until he gets pads on, until he gets into a preseason game, until he gets into week one. But I still think the expectation is there that the Saints would love him to start. We don't know what they've got in Alex Okafor. And because he has not gotten on the field as far as individual drills and team reps, and we got to wait to see what they have with Okafor.
Well, there's nothing to be gleaned from offensive and defensive line play in this workout phase. There's nothing you can glean. Remember Cam Jordan telling us last year? Remember we talked to him about that? This is for learning, going through the motions, getting the installation down. It's all mental at this time of year. They don't even have pads on. So no one is going to go out there on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and make some kind of evaluation on Marcus Davenport. It's not going to, it's futile. So just get a look at him, and he's going to be on the all-airport team, that's for sure. I mean, he's a big guy, towering player. It'll be interesting to see how he adjusts, I think, to the NFL. I mean, he's going to get a lot of education from going against Terran Armstead in the fall. And he's going to be going against one of the best day to day, and that's going to sharpen him quickly. And Terran Armstead, I think, we've talked about it on the program before, it's a big year for him. They need him to stay healthy. If they're going to make a deep run, he has to be on the field most of the season. He can't continue to be in and out of the lineup. And he insists, that he's got all of his issues fixed. But you know how that goes. As soon as you get out there in the wars, I mean, it's such a physical, demanding game. But they can not afford really to have him go down. What do? Andres Pete and Ryan Ramczyk if he goes down?
Well, you might go with Jermon Bushrod. He could be out there. He's your utility guy that can certainly play guard and play tackle. He played guard with the first team offense last week in replacing Andres Pete, who's been out with an ailment. The other 2 weeks they had John Fullington in there, so they've gotten Jermon Bushrod in there. I suspect he will be the number 6 offensive lineman, just because you know what you got with him, seasoned veteran, can play both guard and both tackle. All right, hour number 1 is up. Hour number 2 is on the way. We'll talk more Saints minicamp storylines as they start tomorrow. We'll talk a little NBA Finals, and if you want to get involved in the conversation, 504-260-1280 is the number to Give us a buzz here, Sports1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
So I'm going to do a Taysom Hill column this week. I'm just going to use that stuff that Sean gave me. And I'll
you have your own stuff, right?
Try and talk to the kid, but he gave me great stuff about
Yeah.
how they found it and stuff. It's pretty good. He was evaluating film of what's the receiver's name? McCaffrey.
Okay.
They had him for a while, I guess, or tried to get him.
Yeah.
So he was evaluating him, and he kept seeing these passes from Hill. He yells down the hall to Jeff Allen, "Is this Sean Hill?" The quarterback, and he goes, "No, it's Taysom Hill." And he goes, "What don't we like about him?"
What don't we like about him?
And that's when they went and got him. So it's pretty funny.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sean
great.
Hill.
That's great.
Oh.
But in the couple practices I've seen him,
Looks pretty good.
You can kind of see it. I mean,
Yeah.
is he perfect? No, but
No.
he looks the part more than like a Chase Daniel.
Right.
He throws a good ball. Like you can see why you could be enamored with him.
Right.
Now I'll really get I've seen him in 2 practices. These next 3 days when I see him all the way through.
Right.
Yeah. But I think he's better than Tom Savage.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to watch those two go at it.
Because here's what's going to happen. Like, if he's better than Tom Savage, they're going to dump Tom Savage, and they'll go with Hill and have
Say a
JT
roster
Barrett
spot.
and
Yeah.
have JT Barrett as their practice squad guy. And then Tom Savage, I mean, could someone pick him? Yeah, but
I just texted J-Mac.
oh, for
Taysom Town.
Well, no, just how to get in practice once I come out there.
He'll do whatever you need to.
He's so weird, man. I know that's not breaking news, but he's just so damn weird. It's just unbelievable. Like I went out there the other day, and he was taking me out to practice to meet Peyton. You know, I'm just trying to carry on a conversation, walking out there, and it's just so awkward. Still, after I've known him for 20 years almost, and it's still like, so who's minding the fort for Dunc and Holder with you not here? I mean, with you not on the air, and I'm like, Clyde and Larry. I mean, like who? And then there's like a long break, pause. We're walking for another, minute or so, and I'm like, so what you got planned this summer? Nothing really, It's just almost like, God, get me out the Peyton. Get me out of here. Oh, yeah.
This dude advertises everywhere. Mike Brandner, whatever.
Never heard of him.
Guess he's not doing a good enough job advertising everywhere. See him on billboards. He's on every TV station. He's even on our station. What?
Really? Yeah, definitely not.
Oh, he's like an ambulance chaser.
Oh, no one of those.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so at the risk of being accused of cyber stalking,
Oh.
Oh dear.
all right, just look at this. The difference between that
Yeah.
right there
Yeah.
and like that right
Oh, hello.
or
Um.
there. What's going on?
What
would you think?
I think that somebody had some work done.
Oh,
Or
dear.
someone,
Tell there.
or someone is very
Right here.
at wearing
See what I'm saying?
push-up apparatus. You get my drift.
That's what I'm thinking. Because I can see right there.
Yeah, because that's because
That's a long
that-
time.
that's
That's
the truth.
2007.
Oh no, this is definite. 100% then. 100%, absolutely.
Trust me, I've been like, this is good. Wait, I mean,
Yeah, bro.
okay, look at that.
Yeah, bro. That's Yeah.
This is how.
You looking up your girl?
Yeah, you need to see this too. The difference. Let's see if I can bring it.
All right.
Actually, just do. I'm gonna send you.
How can you're gonna copy it?
Yeah, it's easier. I don't even know how to pronounce her last name. It's a
Oh
weird-
Lord,
weird
good
last
Lord.
name. And then do Google Images on that.
Okay. Oh, Heidingsfelder. I know a lot of Heidingsfelders actually.
We're not on the air, are we? It's not going out or anything, is it?
Now
I
it's
don't
not.
know.
Now it's not.
Thanks.
No, it was off for the longest time. I just turned it back on, so all they just heard was Heidingsfelder. That's it. They didn't hear the rest of it.
Did you turn it off now? Yeah.
Yes, it's off now. Yes, so you can speak freely.
Look at the difference. See what I'm talking about? I haven't looked yet. Notice the difference between. You see what I'm talking about? I mean.
Dunc and Holder, hour number 2 on a Monday, June 11th. Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan, Clyburn, and Dave DeCorbier here with you. If you want to get involved in the show, feel free. 504-260-1280 is the number. I can tell you that I have officially compiled all of the top 20 lists that a lot of you Hoodats ended up sending me, whether it's through the NOLA.com comment section, through Twitter, through emailing me, and I have made a composite score. So I have my top 20 list, and I will have to say there were a couple of surprises, but a lot of things I can get on board with. I'm going to be publishing that later on this week at some point, but this is a little bit of a tease as far as I just received an email from the NFL Network. Oh yes, a Saints player will be revealed on NFL Network's Top 100 Players of 2018 list tonight, 7 p.m. They are giving players between numbers 30 and 21. So someone is in the top 30. One of those players is not Marshawn Lattimore. He was at number 82. Michael Thomas was at number 81. Mark Ingram was at number 43. So if you're going to make a guess, who is going to be this one player, I'm going to make a guess.
Go ahead, give us a guess.
I think it's Alvin Kamara.
That's a good guess.
That was gonna be my guess.
In the top, what's it, 30?
Top 30.
That's pretty high.
'Cause
Ooh.
I think 2 players are still yet to be named.
Well, we all know who the highest one's gonna be.
We know the highest one would be Drew Brees. I think Cam Jordan would be in the top 20, and then Kamara would be in the top 30.
Yeah.
That's going to be my guess.
I think Lattimore has a better shot.
Well, Lattimore has already been named.
Yeah, he's already been named.
He's number
I guess I'm
82.
wrong on
I
that.
just said this.
Yeah.
Well, so Kamara would be in the top 30 players in the league? I don't know about that.
He's dazzling, exciting. They get the pub.
That's true.
Kamara's got to make the
Let's
list.
face it, these lists are all just to do exactly what they're doing with us right now.
Why do you think I love lists? Lists.
List McGee.
Odds McGee and lists McGee.
Listicle holder.
But I do it every year, so I figured this year I might as well involve the fans. I got about 80 lists, and I had to kind of narrow it down to 50 lists that I did when I compiled this and made a composite score. And I will give this away. There are 5 players, only 5 players that made every list that I chose. Only 5. Some people left out a player once. Like some players have been on there 49 and they plucked them off. Somebody didn't name them once, whether it's by mistake or not. But the only 5 players that I had from the fans, from their submissions, were Drew Brees, Cam Jordan, Lattimore, Kamara, and Michael Thomas. So they were the only 5 players that made every list that I used.
That makes sense.
So that means Mark Ingram was left off of a list maybe once, maybe twice. Armstead maybe once or twice. So, but yeah, you go through this exercise and you realize how good the Saints roster is. I think that was part of the process when I decided to kind of get everyone's involvement if they wanted to jump on board, just to kind of display, even just to myself. I know that the Saints have good players, but even just fans doing these lists realize, wow, I'm actually leaving some good players off of this list, and it's the first time in several years where I think you could say that, and that just goes to show you where the Saints have come from, say, since 2014 to where they are now, Jeff.
Yeah, I think the difference has been the drafting.
No question.
Draft selection, player procurement is night and day where it was 5 years ago. And that's a tribute to Jeff Ireland, but not just Jeff Ireland. They've overhauled the entire scouting department. All kinds of new scouts in there. And, when I was talking to Sean Payton last week, we talked a little bit about how they've re-emphasized the prototypes. They're a big prototype team now. They always were. That's a Bill Parcells kind of trait. But they kind of re-emphasize that. So you're just not going to see them going outside the prototype very often. They will do it. But for instance, say like a Baker Mayfield. He doesn't fit the quarterback prototype. But there are exceptions. But he will be downgraded on their player evaluation grade because he doesn't fit the prototype for them. Now somebody else might not worry about that. But for the Saints, they want linebackers a certain size, defensive ends a certain size, cornerbacks, each position. And I think they finally found a player personnel philosophy that works. And they've hit, let's face it, they've hit on some of these guys. Alvin Kamara was fined in they got him in the 3rd round or 2nd round?
Top of the 3rd round.
Top of the 3rd round, and he was a 1st round grade. And Peyton told me that story actually. And he's told it before, but basically he thought when they drafted Marcus Williams, he said, I love that we got Marcus Williams because he's a 1st round grade on our board. We really need a ball hawk in center field, but that means we're not going to get Alvin Kamara. That's what he said when they made that selection. He realized there's no way they're going to get Kamara now. And then when Kamara was still on the board early in the 3rd round, they were like, let's go get him. And they went and got him, and they felt like they got 4 first-round draft picks basically in that draft.
And they're not looking back because all they've done, even in that 3rd round, I could just say this in my very limited off-season lookout as far as, say, Alex Anzalone. I saw him in last week's OTA. He showed to me that, look, he made I'm going to put in quote-unquote tackle for a loss. Look, he got through and made a stop, and of course you're not tackling anyone. And then he looked great on a wheel route where some linebacker could get burnt, and he looked step for step, broke up the pass, they couldn't get a completion. So even there, if Anzalone is healthy, he would have started all last year. And to me, he's going to start at weak side linebacker, and they're going to try to have him as much on the field there as humanly possible. So you can look at those top 5 picks in that draft from the 17 draft, and you've got 5 long-term starters there. Now, Anzalone, again, he's got to stay healthy, and he's basically in the same Teron Armstead boat. We got to see if he's going to be healthy. But if they're all healthy, you've got 5 bona fide starters right there that you got in a draft that you only did a year ago, which is pretty amazing.
Remarkable. That doesn't happen, and I don't think it's going to be the case this year. This draft seemed kind of like a, how the kids say it, Clyde, meh.
Yeah, a little meh.
Yeah. I mean, they made the bold move up to get Davenport. And I think that was the splash. Everything else seems like it's depth oriented, but they could afford to do it this year. They could afford to take players, some projects, some specialty players. Was it Rick Leonard, the project at tackle? They could afford to do that because they had the luxury of having such a great draft last year, and the year before was a really good draft.
Well, it reminds me of the 2014 draft, and I don't want to say that as far as how that panned out, but the players they drafted in that weren't coming in and playing right away, and part of that is because they were so far down the draft because they played so well in 2013, and you look at 14, now they don't have any players from that draft, but they traded up in that draft to go get the guy they wanted. They traded up in this draft to go get the guy they wanted. And then is Traquan Smith going to play right away? I don't know. Rick Leonard, I don't think he's going to be playing right away by any means. And then you go down the list, and it's, at least, I will say this, at least you're not doing a project, a.k.a. second round, go get Stanley Jean-Baptiste. That was bad. That was really bad.
Yeah, and that was back, though, in the phase where Peyton was dabbling too much in the defense, and he basically imposed that they were going to change the Seattle defense philosophy in an offseason, and basically made Rob Ryan learn a system and coach a system that he wasn't prepared to do, and that's why Sean Payton, I think one thing I've always admired about him as a head coach is he will admit when he's wrong, when he makes mistakes. There's an accountability, and he knows as a head coach he has to own up, just as he holds his players accountable and his coaches. He owns up, and he's admitted, look, that was me. When he says there are a lot of dirty hands involved with the defensive problems, I think he's referring to himself there, because that was a period of time where they were just wandering the desert trying to replace Greg Williams, and I think until they got Dennis Allen in there, he did not feel comfortable with where the defense was going to be.
Or the people who were running that defense, a.k.a. the defensive coordinator, because, look, they ran through defensive coordinators left and right. Didn't trust Steve Spagnuolo. We can tell you that. First day back on the job in Mobile, fires him. In Mobile, fires him. Then Rob Ryan, didn't trust him enough. So much so where you bring in his replacement and park him right next to him, and making for an awkward transition. Well, not an awkward transition, but an awkward work environment for that time being. And I just remember whenever you would talk to Rob Ryan and talk to Dennis Allen, Rob Ryan would kind of be short and gloom, and Dennis Allen was always just kind of in a good mood, knowing what's coming, but can't publicly admit he knows what's coming. He's basically waiting for Rob Ryan to be exited out. And here's the thing. We know coming into that thing that Sean Payton was going to trust Dennis Allen. We knew it. It's not like Sean Payton got rid of Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen got promoted. He became defensive coordinator in Denver. Then he gets hired in Oakland, and look, not a lot of people succeed in Oakland. Obviously, it didn't work out. But when you have the ability to get a guy back, you at least knows defense, and you trust. And Dennis Allen seems like the perfect fit with Sean Payton. Just talking with Dennis, and you've talked with him plenty of times too, it seems like that's a perfect fit.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think one of the underrated aspects of what's happened in this Saints resurgence is the coaching staff. It's not easy when you win a Super Bowl like the Saints did in 2009, have success in that post-Super Bowl run. You start getting coaches poached off your staff. It's one of the residuals of being successful. People look what happens in New England every year. That's one of the remarkable things about Bill Belichick, is he's able to replace staff members. I think the Saints went through that period where they lost a lot of good coaches to other staffs. Guys were getting promoted, guys getting head coaching jobs. We see it right now, Doug Marone's in Jacksonville doing a good job. And they struggled to replace him, frankly. And I think he's done a remarkable job the last couple of years of getting this coaching staff back up to the standard that they had before. And think about it, they have Mike Nolan coaching linebackers. He's a former NFL head coach. Dan Campbell was a interim head coach.
And probably will be plucked, I would say. If the Saints play well this year, Dan Campbell's going to be plucked.
He'll be a head coach somewhere.
Yes.
And Dennis Allen was a head coach in this league. Ryan Nielsen is going to be a defensive coordinator in this league sooner rather than later. And, of course, we all know about CJ. Curtis Johnson's been a head coach at the major college level. So we're talking about big-time coaches that have joined the staff, and we're seeing the results in the development of the players. Guys like David Onyemata is coming. I mean, he's coming on. He's going to end up being a force in this league, I think. And that was not the case before. So that took some guts from Sean Payton to clear out that defensive coaching staff a couple of years ago, because those were longtime assistants, very loyal to him, guys that have been with him from the start. And look, it's paid off.
And we've said this before, when you do that, you know you're in your kind of final stretch, that if you don't improve, you're next. And look, we've seen it all over the league. Look, we're even seeing it. You just look up in Baton Rouge. I mean, you got to make a change. Made several changes at offensive coordinator, so you got to make changes or you're next. And that Sean Payton had gotten to that point where he needed to make major changes or he would be next.
Sometimes you just need a different voice in the room. It's not necessarily an indictment on that coach that they're not a good coach. I don't think that's the case. Probably Troy Dana had this conversation with Travis Jewett about his pitching coach. I don't think all the problems at Tulane were the pitching coach. It's just you need a different voice sometimes. You need to change things up just for change's sake. And the Saints defense definitely needed that. And it's worked. You have different set of eyes and ears with different backgrounds and different experiences, and they know how to relate that to the staff in a different way, or the players in a different way. It's just a refreshing of ideas in an organization. It can get stale if you don't pay attention to it.
So is that what we have in Alabama, where basically the University of Alabama football program or coaching staff is former head coach where you have Butch Jones and pictures of him washing cars in the parking lot for some reason as an analyst? He has more bowl winning or bowl producing head coaches as analysts or as low paid, low level assistants on his staff that he can just acquire out of nowhere because he can do it.
Absolutely.
I mean,
you
that's
could
just the
do
way
it.
it is.
Yes.
Because he can do that because he's winning national championships. But I mean, that's also the system and that's also the program that Alabama's been. And it kind of goes to show where, I mean, obviously if you can go to a winning, or if you can go to an organization that is at least stable enough to let you get your kind of guys in, which like Sean Payton has absolutely done. I mean, he's been able to have an eye for talent and an eye for plucking really good coaches that have futures. I was going to ask this, I think, a couple of weeks ago, how much longer do you think this group stays together? And then B, is it odd that this group has been together long enough that seems so talented that there's no way, if you're Sean Payton, you can't look at this group and say, I really need to start looking in the next year or so at who could possibly be the next to step up in these situations because they've have it so good with these coaches.
I can give you a short answer, but why don't we give you a long answer? Let's take a break right here on the show. And how much longer do you think the staff is going to stay together? Look, we'll dive into that. Also dive into some Saints storylines going into minicamp. Of course, we've talked plenty enough times about Mark Ingram. Now is the anticipation. Is he going to show up to minicamps? Because look, Earl Thomas up in Seattle, he says he's not showing up to minicamp, so he's going to eat the fine.
Yeah.
And are under all indication that Mark Ingram's going to show up, but it's a curious case. And we're going to get a better feel of it tomorrow if/when he's there. So we'll talk about all that. Also, LeBron James in the NBA Finals. LeBron loses, the Warriors win, blah, blah, blah. Where's LeBron next? Blah, blah, blah. Sounds like all the same storylines to me in the NBA. Coming back, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Older. I think poor Mike Triplett's jealous of the trade, Jeff.
What's that?
Triplet, jealous of our trade.
Yeah, I ran into Pearlstein at the gym last night. He was saying the same thing. He goes, I could have given you more than what Larry gave you. I'm like, oh, well, why do you...
No one talks.
Yeah. He's full of crap.
Yeah.
I looked at his roster. He's got nothing.
Well, that's the thing. I've dove into everyone's roster, and I'm like, the stuff I could offer you makes sense. The stuff you can offer me makes sense, and it's not the way it is with everybody else's roster.
It's hard to find people that have excess at certain positions.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah. So like
I have excess bats. You have excess saves. Like,
right.
We can make this happen.
Right. That's exactly right. It's what the league's.
Right.
It's what it's supposed to do.
I could have offered more. Oh, so he's basically saying he would have given you more.
Yeah, which is not right. There's no way. He's done
I
everything.
gave you
he can
Nolan
give me.
Arenado and Buster Posey.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah. No, it's exactly kind of what I needed.
Yeah.
But it's typical like chirping.
Mm-hmm. Always. I'm always the one to pull the trigger. Everyone else hims and haws. Oh yeah. Prange was like trying to deal me Vizcaino and wanted Corbin. I'm like, Corbin is not Vizcaino. I don't even know if Vizcaino is going to be the closer in a month.
Right.
I'm just like, I'm not. No.
Yeah.
And then of course he wants a big bat and wants to give me a guy who's hitting 180. I'm like, no. I'm like, this is not going to work. I'm like, sorry. And he's like, yeah, people are reaching out to me. I'm like, well, I know who people is. Derry. So go trade Vizcaino to Derry.
How is Derry in first? I don't even
He
understand.
made
how
a
he's in
huge
first.
jump. I don't know what happened.
I mean, all of a sudden I look up, he's in first. I'm like, I didn't even think his team was any good.
He's I don't know how he's jumped.
He
But
didn't
he's
even have
just
any
jumped.
closers or anything. I don't know what's going on.
Well, he still doesn't. He's got one.
Oh, he's probably doctoring the score. I don't trust that guy. I like JD, but when it comes to this thing, he's a little shady.
Well, he tried to he tried to make me in the same deals, and I'm like,
I mean, he picked up that. It wasn't a big deal because I knew that guy wasn't that good. The
Mhm.
guy he pitched up for the Dodgers. But I'm telling you, in the past when I've tried to do that, he's the first one to chime in. It's not official till CBS. That's what we said. I'm like, all right. And here he goes and does the exact thing he always tells me.
yeah.
I'm starving.
Same.
Did I mention that?
No, but thank you.
Oh, nice.
This is too heavy for Light Rock Express.
Medium rock. Medium rock
This
express.
is too heavy.
And way too 80s, but it's all right.
Clyde's just randomly talking into the mic.
Why not? Why not?
Where's the horn?
What's the worst that could happen?
No kidding. Exactly. I think Clyde and D Squared need to have the show together. That's what I'm thinking. What kind of disaster would that be?
Ooh.
It'd just be a bunch of screaming and then like
Nah.
good times and then really bad
Well, it'd have to
times.
be. Well, it'd have to be somebody else that's working the board. Because I mean, Dave just can't say he's going to sit in one studio and have access to all the sounds and the music and stuff like that. That's not fair.
I guarantee you, Dave can insert a horn button within these three buttons right here because you have cough, on, and off. I bet you he can insert like a secret horn.
I mean, you could, but why?
Just do it. I think you should just do it.
D-League and the Cladicos.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
That sounds even worse than what I thought you were going to say.
That sounds like a
That
band.
sounds terrible.
That sounds like it could totally be Flight of the Conchords. One
Yeah,
of you is
except
Greek,
one is
of you
funny.
Jermaine.
for the ladies.
Exactly. But I don't know how we're segueing. What were we talking about last segment? Coaches, Saints assistant coaches. Clyde brought up the topic. How long do you think that this group is going to stay together? And
One more year.
that was going to be my short of it. One more year, because I'm going to assume, say if Dennis Allen has a good year and the Saints have a good year, he's at least going to be a candidate. I think Dan Campbell is going to be a head coach at this time next year. I think possibly someone like Aaron Glenn, who got some sniffs,
Yep.
he could be elevated into maybe a defensive coordinator spot. I mean, that's one thing where they had Wesley McGriff for a while, and that was another voice like, I think you need to kind of let him go, and he went off, and I guess you could say it's a promotion, but not technically. You know, he went off to become the co-defensive coordinator where, like South Carolina? I forget where he is now.
He's in the SEC.
I'm forgetting. I'm drawing a blank. But no, to go get someone like Aaron Glenn, because they've had former players who've been assistant coaches and haven't panned out. Say like Henry Ellard didn't pan out as the wide receiver coach. He did not.
But I think Mike Nolan's been kind of an under the radar addition because he has had a lot of input on the defense, and I think has been a big help for Dennis Allen, who's still, relatively speaking, a young coach in that world. And I think he needed a kind of a veteran presence who's run a defense before, run a team, and has a different viewpoint than he had. And I think it's been a really good staff. Like if Dennis Allen left, it wouldn't surprise me if they promoted like Mike Nolan to be the defensive coordinator. I think something like that could happen. Or Ryan Nielsen, Aaron Glenn. They have a lot of candidates now, and you couldn't have said that a few years ago. Look, Joe Vitt, Bill Johnson, those guys are good coaches. Wesley McGriff, but they're not coordinator candidates.
Well, Joe Vitt had been, but I think that was, I don't know how well that went.
Not now.
Well, not now, no.
You know what I mean? Like, I think these young guys, Ryan Nielsen in particular, I think is a rising star, and they had really no connection to him whatsoever. So that speaks to Sean Payton's ability to identify coaching talent, find good coaches. Now, he knew Dan Campbell. Reading that Alex Marvez story on Dan Campbell, if you haven't had a chance to read that, it's an excellent story on Dan Campbell. I didn't realize that Sean Payton was coaching in New York, I think, when Dan Campbell was drafted. I don't even know where Dan Campbell played in college.
I don't know either. But yeah, he coached Dan Campbell. That's where he first came into contact with him. Then Dan Campbell also went to Dallas, right?
Yes.
Well, Sean Payton was there?
Under Parcells.
Right.
He's very much a Parcells acolyte, very much a believer in Parcells' way of running things. And I thought it was interesting in the story that Dan Campbell talked about how he thought he was too soft on the players in Miami. He said he thinks one of the biggest problems with former players that become head coaches is they used to be players, so they feel for the players' mentality and they have sympathy for the players and realize when they were playing how tough it was to go through, so then they're too soft. And that was definitely the case with Jim Haslett. No doubt about it. Jim Haslett, I think, gets a bad rap from Saints fans about his head coaching ability. He knows X's and O's. He had a good staff. His weakness as a head coach was exactly what Dan Campbell said. He would be too soft on the players from time to time because he used to play. And he would say, you know what, I remember going through that grind and I hated it, so maybe I'm going to back off and these guys will respond to me because they know that I know what they're going through. And actually it's the opposite. You got to be tougher on them.
Well, it's funny you say that. I'm trying to think off the top of my head how many ex-NFL players are head coaches right now. Would you even count Sean Payton? I would count Sean Payton.
He doesn't count.
Well, he threw interceptions against the Saints one year.
He was a scab. There's a
let's
lot
see.
of them, though, right? I mean,
as head coaches, think about it. There's not that many.
Frank Wright.
Well, he's one. Doug Peterson, he's one.
I think there's a lot.
Mike Tomlin, did he ever play in the NFL?
No, I don't think so.
I'm trying to. I know one. I'm drawing a blank.
Doug Marrone was in camp with the Saints.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. So Ron Rivera. That's the one I was thinking of.
Right.
We know
Not Jay Gruden.
Neither Gruden's. We just have to go through. But I don't think they're.
Vrabel.
Yeah.
Matt Patricia.
Matt Patricia
Not Matt
played
Patricia.
in the NFL.
Not Matt Patricia. No, Vrabel was.
Vrabel definitely was. So
Hugh Jackson, Marvin Lewis, neither one.
I guess they're more than I thought.
Yeah, I think there's more than you're thinking. Andy Reid did not play in the NFL.
Belichick, no.
Yeah, I don't.
Adam Gase, no.
All the
I can just
Belichick
go-
disciples, I don't think any of them played.
Right.
As far as I know. Now, Vrabel, I guess, would count as a Belichick disciple.
I guess, yeah.
You
He's
know.
in the tree.
But Kyle Shanahan, no, neither did the head coach of the Rams, the young guy.
Yeah.
What's the young guy at the Rams? Sean McVay. He did not. Now, he was a great, high school.
Kyle
college player.
Shanahan did not.
Right.
I know we're just
going down the
we're
list.
basically
Great radio
brainstorming.
here.
We're brainstorming on the radio here. On that note, let's take a break.
And Dan Campbell played at Texas A&M.
But there is a headline I wanted to read to you, Larry. This is out of the Palm Beach Post today that I thought we'd get.
Hold that headline. Hold that headline.
Through the break? Okay.
Yeah, it's a we'll just hold it. It's worth me screaming about here for
Again?
that segment. Yes.
And I think our listeners will be intrigued by this.
I absolutely do as well. So it has nothing to do with Adrian Peterson getting an F. At least I'll just preface it in that way. But I'm probably given this player an F before, so we'll talk about that.
No doubt.
Sports 1280 NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Now get older. Yeah, we're literally like brainstorming.
Cal Shanahan didn't.
Go through every coach. Andy Reid didn't.
Well, Pete Carroll, I thought of. Who's the coach in Arizona now? You got a new coach, right?
Oh God, Steve Wilkes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he did not.
Todd Bowles didn't.
Joseph with the
Vance?
Broncos didn't.
He didn't play.
They were all playing college.
Right.
Didn't make it the next
Right.
year. Those are the best guys. The ones that don't make it. The ones that are like still hungry.
Man, you just called Sean a scab.
He is a scab. So I found out how he cheated. Apparently, like they had a bunch of redfish stored at some like fishing camp, and they stopped on the way back and got all these redfish that they didn't catch.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Even Peyton almost admitted it. He said, like, all I know is we had a lot more redfish on the dock than I remember us catching. And he plays dumb. Hilarious.
I mean, you really have to win that bad?
The conditioning chip, if you're not on his team, you'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I need to follow up with Thornton on Taylor Swift.
Oh. Okay.
Because I just haven't talked to him about it. I've talked to him 2 or 3 times. I haven't followed up with him. I remember he was in like Mexico when
Right.
we talked to him.
Trust me, Joni brings it up all the time.
Okay.
And she brings it up in the fact that it's going to fall through and like she doesn't
No,
trust it.
it definitely won't fall through.
That's what she's
one
worried about.
One thing I would say is just kind of we need to keep it on the down low. It's kind of one of those things like
I'm not telling a soul.
I know probably
Now you spilled it to Clyde and it's over.
Clyde's like what's going on?
Screw you off, especially after I paid nearly $600 for these tickets for that show.
He's definitely should not have brought it up.
Bastards.
Oh well.
Hashtag this.
Hashtag shrug.
Hashtag shrug
Shrug emoji.
Shruggy guy. Yeah, Chad had a big day, Belmont Day.
Of course.
He scored all kinds of. He won like $3,000 or something.
He's a damn monster.
He said his wife goes, "How much did you win?" He goes, $1,500. He goes, "Some things she needs to stay in the dark on."
Yeah. We won 1,500. I won 3,000.
Exactly.
Jeff's got a curious headline that as soon as he told it to me, my antenna, I would say, perked up and just said, "Oh boy, they're falling for it too." Oh boy.
Yeah.
Out of the Miami area, Joe Shad, who covers the Dolphins now for the Palm Beach Post, has written an interesting story, Jeff, that I'm sure that Dolphins fans might be excited about, and Saints fans around here would know better.
I think this you could file this under the off-season of hope file, right?
The old OTA.
Yeah,
Everything's great.
Everybody's improved. The team has filled all the holes.
Nothing is wrong.
Everybody's unbeaten. Hope beckons. Here's the headline in the Palm Beach Post from yesterday. Could Stephon Anthony be under-radar answer for Miami Dolphins?
Larry.
No.
All right, insane.
Pretty short answer.
Oh my gosh. Where is he playing?
He's starting at linebacker.
Oh no. Which spot?
It didn't say. It just says he's starting. Said that he needed a year. That they're blaming his lack of production last year on the fact that he joined the team mid-season, which I think you have to, in his defense, that's difficult to do. Nobody's helping you catch up. Sean Payton's talked about that. But they said they've been repping him, and Kiko Alonso, one of the other starting linebackers, is raving. He says, quote, "Stephon is another guy. He can do it all. He can drop into coverage, play the run. He's a high-energy guy. He's another guy that is a playmaker." How many times we hear stuff like that?
Oh my gosh! Last time I heard someone talking about Stepan Anthony is that he couldn't even understand how to play special teams. So all of a sudden he's gotten it together. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think again, this is what you get in the off season.
Just like Adrian Peterson wants to play with the Saints.
I mean, how many stories do we read on, it's Garrett Grayson's coming along. Garrett Grayson's right there. He's the future.
I could tell you one person in this room who didn't write that. Actually, I could name you two people in this room who has never written that.
Yeah.
Thank baby Jesus, myself and one Jeffrey Duncan have never, ever claimed that.
Right.
Thank
There's
you
too
very
much of that. I call it hopeful journalism. There's a lot of that. And sometimes I use this bad analogy, but, when you're what we do, and fans sometimes want us to write positive, right? And look, we're not looking to write negative things. We're looking to write the truth. And the analogy I use sometimes when I'm talking to people about what we do as sports writers or sports columnists is a meteorologist, right? Look, we all want it to be sunny every day. We all want it to be nice weather.
That makes life easier for us.
Right, but our job is to report what the weather's going to be with the Saints, with the sports teams we cover. If we just write every day or tell you every day, yeah, it's going to be sunny every day, and it rains, we're not doing our job. So that's the best analogy I can give you. Yes, we want it to be sunny, but it's often not.
Which again goes also back into please read your local beat reporters and writers. They know your teams better than the national pundits do. They have no idea, and they have to basically scan through dozens and dozens of sheets and try to make a logical argument, which most of the time they try.
Well, and they also don't see it every day.
That too.
I mean, we see it every day. That's why when, say, national pundits are all screaming Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson, and I alerted humanity 6.5 hours before what the pick was going to be, who they were trading up with, and around the area. Just, again, yeah. Trust the people that you trust. But still, look, sometimes we're wrong. My gosh. I said the 2014 Saints roster would be the best one they've ever had, and obviously I look like an idiot. I look like a total dope for that. And that's why I'm looking at this roster, and I dissect it more than probably others do, and I feel real good about their chances, but I'm not jumping to conclusions and saying, this is the best Saints team I've ever seen. I'm not doing that. I fell for that. I'm not doing it again.
Go big or go home, Larry. You went big.
Well, I went home.
That's all right. That's
Last year I went big and went bald.
It happens, man. It happens. I said this Pelican season was over after
Yeah, you
Marcus
did.
Cousins
Yes, you
went
did.
down.
That's actually
It
true.
happens.
You did say that.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, you
It's
said
part of being up on that soapbox. You're going to fall off of it sometimes. But I'm not wrong about the streets of New Orleans.
Oh no! Why are we back here?
Surface of
How
the
did we
moon.
get back
The
here?
surface of the moon.
We can easily detour. We can easily detour and get back on track.
You need to do a
Okay.
Copenhagen turn to detour.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't have to do a Copenhagen turn to detour, but you can
Jeff, go
if you
for
need
it.
to.
The surface of the moon is smoother than the streets of New Orleans. Why is it so hard to fix the streets here? Why? I realize that we are built on something that would be the consistency of coffee grounds. I understand that. And that argument is made by age-old New Orleanians who always want to defend New Orleans no matter what. But all I know is there's certain streets that are very smooth. I think of Claiborne, up in the old Riverbend neighborhood, Hampson. Those streets don't seem to have problems with crumbling roadway and infrastructure. You know why? Because they've been paved and surfaced the right way. So that excuse does not hold water with me, the old coffee grounds, shifting land argument. I think it has more to do with neglect and sheer incompetence by the civil service departments in our city.
If you could only see Clyde's face in my shaking head as we're just doing this, and I'm blame Dave for encouraging this.
Yeah, because how are we going to work this into the? I don't know how we're going to work this into
The
the
pothole
podcast.
platform won't get me into office.
Well, I will say this: on my street, whoever fills the potholes, they filled a few of them over the past week, and they have not wiped away yet. Even though it rained, it's gonna. Now we're gonna test it. We'll see if the rain washes it
That's
away.
not going to work. That's the whole point. They fill the hole and then it washes out under the rain and heat.
Well, I'll have to give you an update by the end of the week. What happens with these potholes?
It's a week. It's
Now-
not going to happen in a week.
And
It might if it washes away. I can tell you there is one on the corner of General de Gaulle and Holiday, where you're going over a canal, like a bridge. There was a hole, and they filled it. And I'm talking. They probably did this within the past week, and the hole's already back. It took
Exactly.
1 week.
shocking. I'm stunned.
It
It's
took
just
1
development.
week. I even looked. I was like, "Oh, there's the hole again."
I just
That's where
think it
was.
almost seems like there's just like they come out in the morning with the pothole filler and they just look around the backyard. What can we fill these potholes with today? I mean, the consistency of what they're using to fill it with, it's different seemingly every day.
They should just use kitty litter.
Yeah, that would probably be better.
That's what they used to. That's what they used to use.
Use or non-use kitty litter. 'Cause, I mean, because those have different consistency.
Well, no. I feel like when you were in grade school and someone barfed, they threw like kitty litter all over it. That's what you should do with a pothole. Just throw a bunch of kitty litter in it and see what happens.
It's as good as what is being done right now with how they're trying to fix the roads here. And then I love, and I didn't get to read the story the other day, so shame on me. But we actually had a story on NOLA.com asking, why is it when the Sewage and Water Board digs up your street, it takes forever for whoever it is comes in from the city to fix the repair? Have you noticed that? I mean, they'll sit there, that hole, because the Sewage and Water Board has to go in and fix the drainage underneath the surface, the water lines. And then there's a long delay, sometimes months, before they fill what they tore up the street. Then they put in sand. Yeah, that really works. Sand, that's gonna help. And I've never understood this process. What is going on?
It's still going.
Demand answers. I mean, why do we just allow it
At
to
least
happen?
he's breathing.
It's classic New Orleans. We just allow these things to happen. It's why we end up with what we end up with. It's why we end up with elected officials that are corrupt, and we have
Have we
such a
turned into the
bleeding
Eric
heart.
Asher show?
Sorry.
Corey
Corey
Johnson show?
Johnson? Corey?
The neutral ground.
Yeah.
I'm not neutral right now. I can
Hey,
tell you
D
that.
Squared, you going to be talking about potholes when you start up on radio next week? You never know.
Sort of like his Stephon Anthony answer.
That's going to be a no.
I wish I
Let's
would
bring
have
it back around.
Yeah.
Stephon Anthony.
I mean, no, because I mean it's too late. Because I mean, I thought I was going to be worse off by bringing up the International House of Burgers and like really derailing with that. But
Are you back on
clearly,
Cookout? Back on Cookout again?
No, but I mean, again, Cookout was fantastic on Friday. It was so good. It was about 1:30 when I got it. It was awesome.
Another fallback, a cookout.
So good.
All right, let's hit the phone lines real quick before we head on our final break. 504-260-1280. Let's stay in New Orleans and talk with Tim. Hey, Tim, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got?
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, Tim, you started it up. Jeff,
Thank you, Tim.
Jeff's going to have to leave media and run on the pothole platform. All right, Tim, good talking with you, buddy. All right, let's take a final break. Jeff, I think you got a pothole platform.
It's going to work. I'm
What
going
if-
to get in all.
but how are you going to fix?
But
But Jeff, you haven't talked about the solution. What is the solution? How are you going to fix New Orleans streets?
He's going to employ someone who has enough. There
Thank
we
you,
go.
Dave.
How are you going to do
You
it?
ruined his hopes and dreams.
How are you
I
going
can't
to
hear
do
you,
it?
Clyde. I can't hear you. Your mic's cutting out.
Now my mic's working just fine.
Oh, my God. My ears are bleeding. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder. I didn't see that one coming. The Graph loves this song.
Love spinners. Love the spinners.
Graf texted me over the weekend, said he was reading that Finn McCool's book that we.
Oh yeah, really?
With the
Dude,
guy
I
wrote.
started reading Steven's book on the airplane. It was great so
Really?
far. Yeah.
I should invite him to come up there Friday night. He would come.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
He's
yeah.
a good dude.
Then he had a story published by the Advocate.
Yeah, he's
Mhm.
been pitching.
Mhm.
He was pitching us to do a story, but I just.
Yeah, the
took
book's
it.
really good though. The book's
Yeah, he's a
story.
good writer. He's a good job. We had to do it when Larry wasn't around. So we could talk
Absolutely,
World
because
Cup.
you know he'd kill it because he's in
Yeah,
the
World
NFL.
Cup begins this week.
Yeah, World Cup. World Cup.
We'll wait till
World
he's
Cup.
not here. We'll
Yeah,
talk to
thank
him.
God. The last 4 days. Good boy.
Silly little event. Thank God.
Silly little event. Thank God.
Brett's on the way to go find a Russian mail-order bride.
A male. Okay. Well, I mean, okay. Yes.
They have those over there.
He's going to come home with Oksana, and Colleen's not going to
I
know what to
can't wait
do.
to mail. I can't wait to mail you back to my house with my wife and kids.
Right.
Yeah. Told you I got a strained calf muscle. I'm breaking down.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
Breaking down, man. I can't run for like a week. a lot of people like retweeting this shit on the radio show. Like, there's actually people that listen.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, awesome. A lot of international people that follow are either tweeting me or Facebooking me because they follow it on whatever.
That's good.
They just want access to it.
Awesome. Well, that's what we're going to try to give the folks.
So we're still going to do the YouTube at the lab event?
I want to.
We should probably, right?
I think if we could, it would be great.
Well, I thought they wanted to do do it anytime.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, though, it's basically, which I would love, is for us to be able to patch in so that we could do it live in the studio with just one single video camera plugged into one computer that we need to have to be able to do everything, and that's it.
Okay.
What's going on here? Wait, we got another segment? All right, I guess we'll talk about the NBA Finals. It ended just as abruptly as I prognosticated on Friday. Clean sweep, Golden State, hip hip hooray. They win again without much of even batting an eye. Yay.
I was disappointed in the Cavs just wilting. I mean, they didn't really put up much of a fight at all. The loss in Game 3 took the starch out of Cleveland. I think they felt like they were in that game. They were winning for a lot of it. And when they lost that one, I think they just threw in the towel.
Yeah.
You know, just Steve Gleason's no white flags. There was a lot of white flags coming out of Cleveland.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, let's hit the phone lines. 504-260-1280. Let's head up to Minnesota and talk with Cordell. Hey, Cordell. Thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What's up, buddy? Oh, I know you do, Cordell. All right, Cordell. I know you do, buddy. And Cordell was the first caller of our show. It was the most random. Cordell in Minnesota, when we first started the show, first caller to chime in. Cordell, hey, buddy, we appreciate it. Stay safe up on the roads in Minnesota. All right, Clyde, I'm going to leave this up to you.
Wonderful.
Look, I'm not technologically savvy, even though I know how to find a podcast, but I don't.
No Clyde Horner during this segment.
We actually need to hear this.
All right, guys. So going forward, obviously with the new format and transitioning from a broadcast format to the podcast format, we're going to make it to where we're going to give the podcast as much publication as possible, whether it's on NOLA.com, whether it's on our Twitter account at Dunc and Holder. If you're not following us on Twitter, please follow us on Twitter at Dunc and Holder. We have a Facebook account too, facebook.com/Dunc and Holder. But then we're going to be able to make sure, and we're still working out a little bit of the details, but we're going to make sure that you can find these podcasts on demand at every podcasting site that we can. We're still working out some of the details right now because we haven't fully formed everything. And like Larry said, we're going to be off for about 5 weeks. And while the show won't be around, we'll still be producing some content just so that, everybody remembers that we're still here and leading up to the big launch next month. But we're going to make it to where you'll be able to find this podcast hopefully everywhere that podcasts are found. iTunes, we have a SoundCloud page, which we already has some nuggets of gold in there from some of the crazy things that we already do. But we'll have it there. We'll have it on NOLA.com. And a lot more of these things as we start to kind of finalize it. We'll start to put these out. So obviously we'll have Larry and Jeff put out on their social channels. We'll put it out on our social channels. Trust us, when we say that we're going to give you even though the show in its daily format is going to go away, we're going to make sure that you don't miss any access to everything that we've been doing and we will continue to do going forward. So you will be able to know where the podcast is, and then we'll also make sure to, dissect how, if you want to download it and listen to it later, because that's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is going to be that whenever on demand is exactly that. Anytime you want to hear from the guys, it will be on demand for your listening pleasure. You can download it, listen to it whenever, and then we're also going to still be active. We're going to still be active on our social channels. You guys got questions, we're going to be, it just allows us to be even more social and even more engaged than what we are now, even though this radio has such a powerful platform, and we're hopefully going to take a lot of things that we got, fortunately, from Dave and from iHeart, that we're going to continue to put in the podcast, that you guys will be able to still interact with us. The live portion of it on Thursdays at NOLA Brewery is going to be huge. So it's going to be fun. It's going to have growth potential, and we're going to continue to do the things that you guys have been accustomed to. And hopefully over the course of the next few weeks, we'll continue to add more things that we'll be able to tell you about how this podcast will continue to grow. And but yes, trust us. And Cordell, I know we're Facebook friends, so hit me up on Facebook, and then I'm going to put together a whole dossier of how you can go about getting downloading podcasts and stuff. Because trust us, it's a lot easier than you think to be able to pull up the podcast and listen any time. So it's going to be good. It's going to be gold. We can't wait, and it's going to be great.
So I friended Clyde this weekend. So you got two friends now. Me,
yeah. You and Cordell.
You and Cordell.
You just befriended Clyde on Facebook?
Yeah, he just did.
I don't know
what
what
planet is he on?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things, man.
Really
Facebook
not,
is
right.
Facebook. Yeah, clearly. Anybody that's been around us long enough and has heard us knows that we are not friends.
But I did friend him. I thought, what the hell I need.
And I was the first person that had to send.
What the hell? I need a friend.
Yeah, and I had to be the first one to send that first message too, because I had to be like, "Oh, do you want to accept him as a friend?" I was like, "Well, let me be the first one to step out there, put my neck on the line."
Oh boy.
But yes, the podcast will be fun. It'll be good. We're gonna do great stuff with it. And then LeBron James though, the Cavaliers. I don't know what else to say. It's disappointing, but
blame the has-been Hornet.
I mean, it's J.R. Smith's fault, and the fact that J.R. is congratulating Nick Young and talking about they don't like to see guys like us They don't want to see a bunch of shirtless, tattooed, moronic idiots spraying champagne. They didn't do a single freaking thing to win the title whatsoever. That's exactly what that is.
Where do you think the Warriors? I mean, they have to be starting to be considered one of the better teams of all time.
Look, I'd say the Warriors. I'd put them right up there with the Spurs. And as in recent memory, they've won 3 of the last 4 years. What
about the old Lakers, the Magic, Kareem Lakers? I mean, those were dynasties. The Celtics.
Well, I don't think anybody will ever be able to touch. I mean, and that's where the problem is, and that's why we just have. I thought about this morning. The fact that buffoonery and buffoon behavior and buffoon thoughts are just pilferated throughout the day on whatever channel you want to watch makes us all worse and dumber. Because if we're talking apples to apples and rings to rings, then we need to start with Bill Russell, we need to start with Kareem, and then we need to go to Robert Horry and guys like that. Because if all square and about just championships,
Robert Horry,
because I don't know
he's
if
won
you know
about
this,
10.
He's won about 10.
But he's not the common
denominator.
He's a role player.
But that's not the point. Because the point is, if we're going to expect a player like LeBron James, because he's great, to be defined by rings, then we need to define every player who's ever won rings by how many rings they have. If that's the case, Kareem, Bill Russell, Kareem,
MJ,
Robert Horry, MJ, Tim Duncan.
Well,
Kobe.
I don't think Jeff is referring to just simply said player. He's talking about a team, and guess what? The Warriors, I'm putting them right up there with the Spurs in the way they were able to make a run. They've won 3 of the last 4 years. They got the 1 year they didn't make it. They got to the finals.
Yeah, they lost in the last minute.
I'm putting them up there with the Spurs right now. I don't think they're like Jordan's Bulls or whatever, but they're with the Spurs in my eyes. I don't see this stopping. I think they're going to be just as good next year.
I think it depends on where LeBron goes.
I don't. Because I don't think wherever LeBron goes.
But look how close we were to the Warriors not even making it out of the Western Conference Finals because of an injury.
They did it.
But how much of that is also patented to luck? A lot.
You win 3 out of 4. Luck's going to be in the equation somewhere, but they're the best team in the NBA. It doesn't matter. So, what do they think, Pat 40 of Yahoo Sports? And guys, good times for all.
You're out here, right? You're out here next few days.
Next couple days, I'll be at Saints minicamp. I'll be chiming in before each practice, and Clyde and Jeff will hold down the fort. And Friday will be our last episode on the radio. So Eric Asher coming up next. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Talking older.
Rockets are 7-2 odds right now. You can get that's not bad odds.
That's not bad odds.